Thank you so much for being a part of this project. I really appreciate it. And I will start with the first question,
Okay.
if that's okay. So, many observers consider that until there is peace in the Middle East, there will never be peace in the world. How do you evaluate the rapidly deteriorating situation in Syria, Iraq, Yemen, Libya, and many other members of the Arab League, of which you were the Deputy Secretary General?
Manuel, I agree with this saying because one of the longest conflicts is the conflict between Israel and Palestine in the Middle East. And after the establishment of the United Nations in 1945, it was established, and in the declaration they talked strongly about preventing the world from other world wars, such as the Second World War, and to keep our planet and the world safe and secure. But surprisingly, after 3 years of the declaration and of the establishment of the UN, the new UN, the Arab-Israeli conflict started. Since that time, it didn't stop. And we witnessed a lot of UN decisions, thousands of resolutions and decisions, studies, initiatives, conferences on peace, a lot, many of these activities since that time, since the problem arose in 1948. And even we had two wars, 1967 war and 1973 war, besides signing 3 peace treaties between, the first one between Egypt and Israel, the second one between the Palestinian Authority and Israel, the third one between Jordan, my country, and Israel. But most of these treaties remained on paper. We did not witness a real peace among these countries. So the conflict widened, and although it was an Israeli-Palestinian conflict, but it widened to be an Arab-Israeli conflict. So here we had 22 Arab countries involved. Then indirectly also it is widening between Israel and the Muslim countries. 57 Muslim countries are against what Israel is doing. So the situation is escalating. Instead of having peace with Israel after all these years, the situation is worsening. Some people will say, okay, we may have moderate leaders, good ones, that can sit, negotiate, and come out with solutions for this lasting problem. But, the core problem is not with leaders. The core problem is with the population, with the people. The Arab countries, they exceed 300 million people, and 70% of the population of the Arab world are youth. And these youth, they are hopeless, they are desperate, they are no jobs, they don't see any good future in front of them. This is why we consider them a ticking bomb. So with all this terrorism we are seeing, with all the problems here and there, everywhere, there is no country which is safe from terrorist attacks. So I don't see that it is going to be better. I'm saying it's getting worse and worse. besides the Arab-Israeli conflict, we are also in the Middle East witnessing terrible situation. The situation in Iraq is disastrous. The situation in Syria is also destroying everything, the people, the cities, the history, the heritage, everything. And also Egypt, every day there are terrorist attacks. And in Libya, the situation is also devastating. So Sudan also had a lot of problems. Many people were killed. Do you know that in Iraq, 5 million people killed? And in Sudan, 2 million people also were killed, and nobody know about these real numbers. So the situation is getting worse and worse, and I can see that the core of the problem for the whole world is the situation in the Middle East. And I remember during the negotiation with Israel, the peace negotiation, that Shimon Peres promised us a beautiful new Middle East, and this is a disastrous Middle East. So it is a nightmare instead of a beautiful dream of a new Middle East.
And I have a question. So what kind of tools or like strategies do you think are starting to happen or taking place that may aim for like a mid to long-term resolution of the conflict?
You know, I think that we have to understand each other. I think we have to listen to each other. I think we have to talk openly to each other. I think we have to breathe a lot, because sometimes you can solve the problem by breathing, using the nose to breathe instead of using the nose to interfere. So till now, every side is sitting and not willing to listen to the other with open heart, with open mind, with the willings to solve this problem. So, and yeah, I think that the involvement of people, youth, women, and all the societies in the Arab world may help. It is not, we cannot solve the problem just through governments and just through leaders, because the problem is not among leaders. Leaders, they usually meet with each other and they talk to each other, but the main issue and the core problem is between the people.
And do you think like media representation or sort of like media portrayals of the other, say for example the Israelis in Palestine or the Palestinians in Israel, has a role to play, and there is a way that media could help to enhance feelings?
Yes, of course. The media can help a lot. Media from also these countries in which they are in conflict, they have also to sit with each other. Documentary films are good ones, also can be spread here and there to understand the other point of view. Some activities, joint activities, to include arts, because you know art is a universal language, and you can utilize it in a very good way. Listening to good music and see paintings or photographies about the devastating wars and about the results of these conflicts also will teach everybody a lesson, or they will talk to your conscience. So yes, definitely, media can do a lot.
Thank you very much. So the second one is, you're working with Victor, Cecile, Levon, and Hedvasar on art as a tool for peace. And of course, you were the Minister of Culture in Jordan. How do you think that art can bring hostile nations together? Which is a little bit around what we were speaking already, but...
Yeah, okay. First of all, I'm proud to work with Victor, Shabak, and with Cecile and Yvonne and others. They are great people. I admire them. They are experts. experienced scholars, politicians, you name it. So these are a very good bouquet, I can say, and I salute Victor for picking these people to be on board on this ship, if we call it a peace ship. I believe that art can do a lot, and art can do miracles because it can educate and empower people, raise kids and youth in a proper way. Their brain will be designed in a very acceptable way. It will bring beauty and joy to their life. Art will encourage creativity and flexibility. Art will encourage the problem-solving approach. It will widen the imaginary way of thinking, promote physical skills, foster self-confidence. So all these things can at the end lead to a peace. It can be a strong tool for peace. Victor, he himself is an artist, I can say, and so through these arts, I mean the paintings, the concerts, the songs, sometimes the cartoons or games, any kind of activity will help a lot because it will create empathy and foster understanding, and this will encourage to accept others and to talk to people of different backgrounds in a good way. And I think this will be a huge step for peace through reimagining our future, how to draw our future in a visionary way, not only to reach peace, but to guarantee the peace to last for many, many years. So, as I said, art is a universal language. It can bring people together instead of being back to back. They can talk to each other. They can cooperate with each other, they can understand each other. And you know, in countries with terrible memories or sad memories, a person can express his feelings through art. For example, Hiroshima was the sadness of the memories of Hiroshima was expressed through arts, through painting. I remember when I was a Minister of Culture, there was a strike on Gaza in Palestine, and I asked all the artists for a one day to gather all together in the ministry, instead of going to the streets shouting and crying, just to express their feelings through their paintings. And they did wonderful paintings that day, and of course I spread it all over to the Prime Minister office and everywhere. You know, it was a nice experience. I remember that they were happy, I was happy, and we tackled that subject in a different way, in a creative way. Yeah, we can do many things.
That's amazing. I think you basically answered question number 3 as well as number 2 in this one, which brings me. I'll ask you something different. I saw a film by artist from Palestine, and I'm gonna mispronounce the name, so beware. Her name is Humana Mana, and she made a film that's called "A Magic Substance Flows Inside of Me." I don't know if you've had the chance to see it. I thought that film is sort of engages adults in a conversation about the other, trying to understand the other through culture and through like multiple ways of conceiving like this rich region as sort of like a polyphony. I think she's one of the people that I will want to bring to Cartagena as part of the program.
Yeah.
How do you think that films can sit down adults and talk to them and like try to get them to change the way that they perceive the other?
Yeah. Films are a very strong tool actually because it reach your heart and your brain at the same time, and you use several senses at the same time. You see, you hear, and you listen. So it touches your heart in a strong way. I believe that through movies, you can have a lot of memories and knowledge through movies, um, because a good movie will remain in your memory. It will remain in your heart all the time, and it shows a lot. Even a movie without talking can convey a lot of messages to the people, so you can understand the situation in a better way. It's better than just reading about something. It's you live with them actually, and their in all the stages they show in a movie. You learn you live their experience.
So, as you know, we have a peace accord in Colombia, but we have a long way to go in order to reach the necessary reconciliation so that it doesn't strike again. One of the preconditions, of course, is to forgive or forget. I think the two options are forgive or forget. Bearing in mind the deep wounds in the Middle East as well as Colombia, do you think reconciliation of opposite sides of the conflict is a realistic goal?
This is a must. I think reconciliation is a must, and this can be done differently because it is not easy. This activity is not easy at all. What I can see, or from my own experience, being a spiritual person, I spend a lot of time reading, meditating, and trying I'm doing yoga, of course. Joining the Art of Living, which is found in India 35 years ago by Sri Ravi Shankar. He is doing a wonderful job all over the world, especially in this part of the world in which wars and conflicts or post-conflicts are taking place. So spirituality is very, very important in the reconciliation, because when you sit, meditate, and breathe, you can think in a better way. You can find solutions to all your problems. And of course, again, I repeat, we have to use our nose in breathing, because it will calm us, and it will show us life a different way.
Give me a second, there's a truck. Okay. Sorry, yeah, I went past. So yeah.
What Sri Ravi Shankar recommends, 3 steps: spirituality in politics, which means they have to do a lot of breathing and meditation to come to solutions by thinking a lot and by accepting the others. So the second one, first one is spirituality in politics. So politicians must adopt spirituality. The second one is cooperate, social responsibility. This is also in any reconciliation is important, because you give more than you take. And the third one is in religion, the secularism in religion, the case of Nelson Mandela and Mahatma Gandhi. These are very good lessons we have to learn from and try to introduce them into our life. Yeah, it's a long process, but believe me, spirituality is spreading all over the world now. It should be a part of the reconciliation.
Yes, so we have another question. Most of the people I interviewed in the program for SSCC are women of the highest profile in public life. What do you think women can do to contribute to peace and reconciliation, which eludes the men?
Yeah, women, there is a say here in Jordan, and I believe it's everywhere, that if you educate and empower a boy, you will get a good man. If you educate and empower a girl, you will get a good family. And if you combine good families, we will have a great society. So a woman can do a lot because, it's not me saying that. Most of the studies and research, they show that women are, if they are qualified and experienced, they are outstanding and they have outstanding capabilities. So they can do a lot because studies show that they are less corrupt and they care more. This is on one hand. And on the other hand, they fear conflicts and war because they pay a high price during conflicts. Women are targeted during conflicts and during wars. So they will do their best to guarantee the safety of their country, the safety of their people, the safety of their families. So they will do a lot to prevent their countries from wars or from conflicts.
I've been making a documentary myself, and this is how I met Victor, about exercises in memory around the Colombian conflict. And I found out that most of the strong characters that I've met in Colombia and most of the survivors are actually women as well.
Mhm.
This is very telling and it confirms what you're saying about the very high price. So I'll move to the last question because we've been here for a while. You are today responsible in the Arab League for Civil Society. You're also a prominent member of SSCC. What do you think NGOs in general and SSCC in particular can contribute towards strengthening peace and moving towards genuine reconciliation?
What SSCC is doing in the world is outstanding. It's remarkable. So knowledge is there, practical programs and activities and tools are there. Amazing people on the board, so many quality, creative and innovative proposals are on the table. So, and on the top of that, the dynamism of Dr. Victor Shabek is there. So he's the maestro of this council. On the other hand, in the Middle East, working at the League of Arab States, I noticed that the NGOs are not strong enough in the Arab countries, with two exceptions, Lebanon and Palestine. These countries, they have strong and good NGOs simply because their governments were weak. So in Lebanon, because the government was weak, so NGOs, they stepped forward to do the work and to help their country. The same thing, the Palestinian Authority was weak, so the NGOs became stronger. But the other Arab countries, governments are dominating the whole work, and the NGOs are not strong enough to come forward and do a lot of work. So what I think that these two countries in which NGOs are strong and capable and they have very good experience, they can pave the way for the other Arab countries. And I can think also the League of Arab States can play a role in some cooperation with the SSC because they have now a new Secretary General and he is promising. But again, the problem is with the finance. The League of Arab States, all the Arab members, they are not contributing their portion of money they have to put in the League to carry on projects. But still, there are other organizations who can finance some of those activities, because having the Arab League on board in a way or another, this will increase the cooperation, promote the work together between this part of the world and South America. Besides that, I believe that the Gulf states also, although they do not have problems like the rest of the Middle East, but they can have some activities which are prevented to prevent their countries from conflicts, from future conflicts. They can learn from other countries' experience and from their problems. So, yes, we can do a lot together from this part of the world. And
thank you so much. Your thoughts and reflections are very insightful. I really thank you very warmly for your time.
You are welcome. I'm happy to hear you, and I'm happy to talk about this burning issue in the Middle East. Although the situation is bad, although it is burning, but still I have hope that when we unite in the world and help each other, we can do a lot.
Absolutely, and it is our goal to do so.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I have a question for you. Are you coming to Cartagena in November?
No, unfortunately, because I can't travel long hours now.
Oh,
I have a problem in my back, so it's not recommended by my doctor to come. I wish you all the best. I'm sure that you will come out with outstanding results from that conference, having all these brains together. And as I said, the dynamic Dr. Shabak with you, traveling from one part of the planet to another. So with all his experience, dedication, and good people around him like yourself, you can do a lot.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Very nice to meet you. I hope you have a great day.
Nice meeting you. The same to you.
Thanks.